What once felt like nothing but a spark may become quite suddenly a raging fire. Welcome to Soul Good. Thank you so very much for being here. It's a blessing and pleasure to be here with you. Please trust that when you've found yourself here, there is likely to be something that will resonate with you within these messages. Take only what resonates with you and leave the rest. Please do not make something your story if it isn't. This message is actually going to go in a completely different direction than what I had intended originally. I sat down with a certain message I was prepared to dive deeper into. But as soon as I got into the cards and was shuffling them, I started getting all sorts of messages flooding in. One of which, the first being the number 23045. That could be significant for someone. It could be an address. It could be a license plate number. It could be something specific, some kind of confirmation for someone listening. But the message that came in with those numbers in that order has to do with things feeling as though they're moving forward, right? Taking steps in a particular direction and then experiencing almost this 0 point, right? This almost as though there's a pause, there's nothing going on, or it seems as though there's nothing going on, right? It's like being in the eye of a hurricane. That's what it's giving me. And then all of a sudden things start picking up again, quite unexpectedly. There's something about this space that you've been in. So I also was seeing, and this could be confirmation for someone as well, the bee, the fox, and the bear. Those three energies were showing up for me. And that is giving me this message of putting in a lot of hard work, right? Putting in a lot of time, a lot of commitment and dedication to something, really being devoted to something, really giving something everything you've got. Now, some days maybe everything you've got has been 20%, let's say, and other days maybe it's been 100, and that's beautiful and wonderful. But regardless of whatever your capacity was at any given moment, you've done your best to give it everything you've got. So far so that you've been flexible and adaptable. There's a goal in mind, and there's this whole kind of understanding or acknowledgement or awareness. It's like, it doesn't really matter what it takes for you to get to that point. It doesn't really matter how things unfold. There's a sense of surrender. There's a sense of, I'm just going to flow with life and trust that it's going to get me to that point. But this isn't some willy-nilly luciferic daydream, right? No, this is very much understanding that the means by which you arrive at that destination, the means by which you arrive at a particular goal or a particular marker, let's say, whatever that is for you, okay? The means by which you get there isn't the important part, right? It's going to unfold the way that it's meant to unfold. And however I get there is however I get there, because I'm meant to be learning, I'm meant to be evolving, I'm meant to be growing. And if I just take this very rigid way of being, then I'm very likely to miss out on what is waiting for me. That's the perspective, right? It's not that you're just expecting for things to fall in your lap. There's an understanding that surrendering to divine plan, surrendering to divine time is a means by which you will arrive at that destination much more quickly because you're not in this state of resistance. That being said, there's this wise teacher that's been awakening in this feeling of pause, in this feeling of being at this like 0 point, or at being in the eye of this hurricane type of feeling. There's a wise teacher awakening from slumber and a new beginning from a new level of consciousness. So even if, let's say, you haven't seen anything taking place noticeably on the material plane, that's not to say that there hasn't been a plethora, okay? Hear me when I say this, a plethora of things taking place beneath the surface. That there are not a tremendous amount of milestones, let's say, that have been reached in the advancement of your consciousness, in the evolution of your soul. And so I feel as though there's a new beginning that is coming from this new level of consciousness. And it's that enduring courage, that ability to be adaptable, to surrender, to know that something has been placed on your heart by something much greater than yourself, and being in pursuit of that, that I feel is now grounding your initiation and or your vision into the material plane. I'm not saying that this is going to show up like Amazon, okay? I'm not saying that this is something that's just going to appear out of thin air, though. I mean, I'm not here to put limits on God, so it certainly could happen. But what I'm saying is, just because you haven't noticed things shifting on the physical plane, on the material plane, does not mean that there have not been things taking place behind the scenes that will start to manifest on the physical plane as if by magic or suddenly, right? It is the spark, that enduring courage, that willingness to surrender and trust and have faith. That is the spark that has lit this fire that is beginning to grow and grow and grow. So what does this look like? What is this fire? What is taking hold? What is being brought into balance? Let's take a look and see what wisdom the cards have to offer in this regard. Please, Father, Mother, Life, Christ, Universe, Spirits, Guides, Angels, our cosmic team, our ancestors, our higher selves, what is this fire that is catching, please? Okay. Thank you. All right. We have here first yin with the number 2. This is feminine energy. This is that state of allowing. This is that state of, oh, thank you, Holy Spirit. This is that state of surrender, being in this more receptive state, this more loving, compassionate, graceful, forgiving state, letting things flow. Interestingly, the oracle's face in this card is not only above this bowl here, or this altar, whatever this is, okay? The oracle's face is not only above this bowl, but also in the pedestal on which it sits, in the base of the pedestal on which it sits. I'm not sure that you're going to be able to see that. But it is interesting, right? Because it's giving this message of, in some ways, as above, so below, right? Which, as we've been speaking on, is just incredibly synchronistic and certainly confirmation for someone, because it's what's going on up here is also appearing here. Maybe not at the same exact time, because we are in such a dense plane and things move much slower. But there's also a message of this support on all sides, right? So not only are you supported, in the higher realms, Okay, and it's interesting that we talk about it this way, because it's not as though they're, it's not like the cosmos is this like layer cake. Okay, it doesn't look like that. It all exists simultaneously. We just can't see it with our eyes, EYE. So there's this feeling of you're supported on all sides, right? You're supported on all sides. And we have truth be told. Now this is showing up in the reverse position. And there's a sense of protection here, right? We were just speaking on having this support on all sides. And I feel as though there's a sense of being protected. You may have felt through this pause phase, you may have felt as though you've been set apart. You may have felt lonely. You may have felt isolated. And I feel like this is because this is intentional. It is to protect you. It is to keep you from those who wear masks, those who are not truthful, those who do not have this open window into their soul, if you will. There's a message of being protected from lies, from betrayal, from deceit, these sorts of things. I mean, if you look here, and I'll just flip it around for a moment, the owl here has this window open where its heart space would be. And there are all of these beautiful little heart cutouts that are flowing out from it. It's having this open heart, having this window into one's soul. And the owl is standing on this mask, this golden mask, which is telling me that there are situations, environments, people, whatever it is, that were coming off as this shiny thing. Okay, this, ooh, you should want me thing. But it's not true. The golden mask is just that. It's a mask, right? The golden face that you're being shown is just a mask. There is no open heart. There is no look into the windows of my soul. It feels very closed off. This could also have been your energy, by the way. Okay? It doesn't have to be limited to external experiences. This could also be something that you yourself have had to work through, have had to learn how to open up to, have had to learn how to accept and allow yourself to be exactly who you are, to take off the mask, to open up the windows to your heart and soul, to share your love, okay? There's also something here about wisdom. Owls tend to represent wisdom, and birds in general, things that fly, often are associated with divine messages. I feel like there's something here about essentially the message is just because you know something doesn't mean you're wise. So there have been things that have had to be learned, of course. And you're going to know what that is for you. But in order to learn the lesson, the mask has had to come off. The heart has had to be opened. Okay? It's opening the windows to your heart, opening the shutters, opening the curtains, and just letting your love pour out and letting love pour in. A very, very big challenge for many people. And with that yin energy, it really does complement this well. Because that yin energy is that forgiveness, as we were speaking on. It is that allowing, it is that surrender, it is unconditional love. And so during this pause, whether this be something you've had to work through within yourself, or it's something you had to be set apart from others so you could see it in others, in other situations, the masks have had to come off. The truth has had to be revealed. And the only way I feel that this could happen is by the acceptance of that truth, by the receiving of that truth. It's been a hard pill to swallow, regardless. We have serendipity here, the number 18. Yes, there have been so many signs and synchronicities through this process for you. I feel as though you would probably resonate pretty heavily with feeling divinely guided. You would probably resonate pretty heavily with someone who, let's say, allows God, Christ, maybe you call it source, universe, so whatever it is for you, I call it God. Just insert your word here. But you may be someone who feels as though God has been leading your steps and you've been listening, which I feel has prepared you for whatever's coming next. That surrender that we've been talking about has allowed you to position yourself to be ready. That's what I was speaking on earlier as well, in regards to you're not just being, like Luciferic, your head's up in the clouds. There's nothing. There's no structure. There's no nothing. It's all, fa la la, frolicking through the forest. Like, no. Okay, like that's great. And if we could just live like that and still evolve and grow, that would be wonderful, but that's just not how it works. So this has positioned you to be ready, where you're listening for God's instruction. You're listening for your higher self, the angels, to say, hey, nudge, nudge, like this is the opportunity to take. Hey, go ahead and do this. Take this path, open that door, call that person, go to this place. And I feel as though, even though things have not been rainbows and butterflies, hunky-dory all the time, it is likely that you are in a much better place within yourself than you were before you came into this eye of the hurricane, as it were. Previously, it feels as though you are taking steps forward, and you may have felt like, yes, this is great, this is good, like things are happening, things are moving, and then all of a sudden it was like things came to a screeching freaking halt. But it is through this pause, right? It is that screeching halt that has positioned you to lean more into those signs, into those synchronicities, into that calling from God, right? Into those nudges from the angels, into those nudges from your higher self to position you to be ready. This fairy here, or whatever she is, in order for her to be in a place where she can grab onto that 4-leaf clover and be swept away to new lands, she's had to trust herself, trust the messages that she's receiving, to be in that field at that exact time so that she could be lifted. Similarly with your story, right? There's a sense of following that divine instruction. So, for example, if you've been going through some healing of your trauma, wounding, programming, right, whatever it is, you've been healing. This might look something like you feel something coming up, and instead of trying to escape from it, instead of trying to run from it, instead of trying to drown it out, instead of trying to cover it up, like instead of running from it, you've said, okay, here it is. It's in front of my face. I'm just going to go through it, whatever it is. Maybe you found yourself crying, and that's not something that you had done often before, right? Maybe before, if you had felt yourself getting very emotional, you would have, pulled yourself up by your bootstraps and just kept on keeping on and just tucked it in the back of the closet, right? And now you may be in this position where it's like, no, I can't do that anymore. Or through this pause, you may have found that that's not something you can do. And that's not to say that you technically couldn't choose that, okay? But there's this deep knowingness that if you choose to just shove it down, push it down, ignore it, whatever the story is, that you would just be repeating the same cycles. And there's something within your soul that's like, no, sweets, let's not do that again because it really wasn't that fun. When we look back, yeah, we might get a little nostalgic and maybe it's comfortable and what have you, but there is this very real conversation that has taken place within you that says, let's not do that again because it's not as fun as we remember it to be, type of thing, okay? So now I feel like you're in this position where you are no longer falling into those patterns. You're seeing them and you're taking the nudges to choose something different. The serendipity card here is the number 18. That reduces to 9. 9 is a number of nearing completion. It is a number of, attainment, fulfillment. So you've been given this opportunity to close a cycle, right? To be swept away to a new story. But it's not just, this magical frou-frou, like it just showed up on your doorstep. No, and I don't have to tell you, this has taken a lot of work and a long time. There may have been times, even I'm hearing, that you didn't know if you could do it anymore because it's asked that much of you on various different levels of yourself, on the physical, on the emotional, on the mental, right? Like it is on the spiritual. It has demanded of you a lot. So this isn't like, some thing that's just fallen in your lap. It may look that way externally to others, but you know better. You and God know. You know all the tears you've cried. You know the blood, the sweat, you know what it's taken to get here. So while it may look like some stroke of luck as things start to come together for you, do not let external opinions take root in your heart as fact, because that's not it. Ooh, hello, all that glitters. The number 16. This has had to happen. We were talking about that, right? It's like wearing this gold mask and showing this gold mask to the world and whoever. With this, all that glitter is coming up in this position as well. This had to happen so that once things start taking off for you, you have the discernment. You have the ability to see through the masks. So you're not getting bamboozled. That's not a word I say, by the way. So that could be significant for someone. I don't know if it's something you would say or something someone would say or whatever it is, but it's a fun word to say. But it's so that you don't get the wool pulled over your eyes. It's so that you recognize the wolves in sheep's clothing. It had to be done this way so you are not leaning on your own understanding. And I feel like that's really important for whoever I'm speaking to, because you're somebody who has a very big heart, I feel. You're somebody who has probably give people chance after chance after chance after chance, even though everything was saying we should probably not keep doing this to ourselves, right? And so I feel as though you had to go through this process, this filtering kind of, no, that's not even right. Really, you probably had to learn it the hard way. You had to learn to discern and to not just give and give and give and give and give, which, P.S., Whether you are male or female, totally irrelevant. This is not a gender specific reading. But with that yin energy, in the more shadow aspect of it, is that codependency, that constant kind of dumping, right? Without any regard for oneself. Because there's this need that's wanting to be fulfilled by someone else. So this is something that has had to be healed. This is something that has had to be shown to you, and it may have taken it being shown to you the hard way. You may have had a lot of people in your life being revealed to you as wearing masks, as not being true in the same way that you were showing up. Now, I'm not saying that makes you better and them less than. You're just on different planes of consciousness. You're just on different levels of consciousness, different levels of awareness, different places and phases within your soul's evolution, within the development of your soul. And it is what it is. It's true for everyone. But you have likely been shown this, and it's probably been pretty painful. But again, this, I feel, has had to unfold the way that it has, and has likely been shown to you through this pause phase, so that once things start moving again, as you're doing the work and as you're healing, and it's so hard because when I say pause, you and I both know it's not just you're at a standstill. It's more of an internal thing, right? Like the external world seems to be put on pause. The external world seems to be put on hold. But within you, in your inner world, there's a whole crap ton of things going on. And these are things that you are having to address every single day, even if nothing is happening externally. Okay? But this pause, this internal deep dive has had to take place so that when things do start moving in the material, in the physical, when you start seeing the fruits of your labors, that you are not deceived by those coming to you with masks on. It's like that verse from the Bible where Christ says, "Many will come to me saying, 'Lord, Lord, we did all the work. We were preaching and this and that and the other. We were prophesying and whatever it is.'" Forgive me, I don't know the exact words. And Christ will say, "Depart from me, I never knew you," right? Because they come to Christ wearing this mask, never really knowing true Christ. Similarly, it's being given these eyes for discernment. It's being able to see through the mask. And I feel this is something that has been developing within you, even if you aren't fully aware of that yet. You could be someone who has been working to strengthen a relationship with Christ in your heart. You may be someone who actually has, over the past year, really, but probably longer than that for some of you as well, been growing in your relationship with Christ. And I'm not speaking here on dogmatic Christ. I'm speaking true Christ. Again, it comes back to many will come saying, "Lord, Lord." Dogmatic Christ is not the same as true Christ, okay? So I don't want there to be confusion there. But this has been to give you those eyes for discernment. And just as Christ will say to those, "Depart from me, I never knew you," there will be those that come to you with their hands out, wanting to enter into your kingdom, if you will, that you're going to have to say, "I'm sorry. You're going to have to discern. You're going to have to see those wolves in sheep's clothing and say, 'No way are you coming into my kingdom. No, it's not happening.'" right? Okay, let's see what else. What else, please? What other messages, please? Wow. Okay, thank you. Oh my Lord. Well, that was a lot of work for that card. Give me a second, guys, to pick these up. I did just see the Mars card, by the way, which these are timeless messages, but at the time of this recording, we do have Mars retrograde, and I do feel that there could be some tempers flaring. So you may have to, you know, hang up that VIP robe like sorry about ya, and that might ruffle some feathers, but that is the stirring of their own demons. That's the stirring of their own shadow that they're going to have to deal with before they can enter into your kingdom. It's not about, oh, I'm just saying this just to get revenge, right? It's not petty like that. It's more of, I see the truth, and if you want to enter here, then you have work to do. You have to go purify your heart. You have to go purify your soul, just like I've had to do. There's no easy button, right? Oh my goodness, those cards were everywhere, you guys. So I actually had to pause the video so I could collect them. But I do just want to share with you before we jump into these two cards here that I feel like are the messages that I'm meant to be sharing. We do have here Uranus, which if you can look, it's in the way that it landed on the floor was in just like this. So we have Uranus here in this upright position, and underneath it is Eros, okay, with desire, right? So here's the thing. You've had to stand apart, if you will, from the crowd. You've had to do what others were not willing to do at the time that you were doing them. And you may have even been someone who was saying, just so you know, this is what's going on. This is what the energy is saying. Or, right, you may have been dropping or planting these little seeds here and there, trying to wink, wink, nudge, nudge, because there's only so much you can do from a spiritual, ethical place, if you will. You can't force anybody to do anything, right? That is demonic. You can't do that. That's evil. But you can drop seeds. You can try to nudge in the right direction. You can lead the horse to water, as it were, but you can't make it drink, right? So you may have been doing things on your own and doing them while others were mocking you and laughing at you and this, that, and the other. And now that you're in this space where things are starting to take shape and things are starting to move, some of these people, some situations may come at you from this place of desire, right? Like, I want what you have, but I don't want to do the work. And that's the thing of it. That's where that discernment has to come in. That's where that recognizing the patterns has to come in. Because there are some things, it's like God giveth, God taketh away. And if you are given this gift, let's say, you're given this blessing, and all of a sudden you're allowing these energies to come into your experience and just feed off of you, then it's like you haven't learned the lesson. I hope this makes sense. Because with Uranus out here, it's like, and P.S., Pluto being in Aquarius now, at the time of this recording, it's no, you've got to do things differently. And in the past, this may have worked for some of those people, right? To just come and go as they please and to just siphon off of other people. But it doesn't work like that anymore. Now you have to actually do it for yourself. Sorry, right? Interesting AF, because Aquarius is a more humanitarian energy. It is a more group-like kind of energy, if you will, but it's also very individual. It's also very much, no, like, I'm over here in my own boat. Like, we can all be on the water together, but I'm in my own boat and you got to be in your own boat. Like, that's kind of how this is coming through. I hope that makes sense. But let's see what these cards have to say here. So we start off 5th house, fun, hobbies, creativity. Your 5th house may be significant. It may be activated. I am not an astrologer, by the way, but it could be activated by some transit at this time, or something may be going on with your 5th house. I also feel like during this pause, it's likely that you've actually rediscovered or fallen back into certain things that you really actually enjoyed, right? You may have reconnected with, let's say, your inner child. So maybe when you were growing up, you really liked to color. I don't know. Maybe you really liked to work with wood. Maybe you really liked to build things or paint or be outside, or, you know, whatever the story is. It feels like you could have reconnected with something that was meaningful or that you really enjoyed in your earlier years, right? Before you started adulting and just adulting, right? So you could have reconnected with those sorts of things, and those things may actually be, how is this coming? Give it to me again. Yes, this may be something that is taking more of a center stage, is more in the spotlight in some way or another. Maybe it's just in the spotlight in the sense that it's important to you, but it could also be something that's connected to your purpose. It could also be something that you're meant to be sharing with other people, and you may actually have been called to share your creations, your hobbies, what you feel is fun with other people. And it may have, in some sense, brought your inner child back to life, or it may be giving your inner child the space it's longed for. This may be something that you were not able to do in childhood. How do I say this? Like, maybe you always wanted to be an artist of some kind, or a singer or something, and maybe someone told you that that was stupid, or someone told you, you know, no, like, grow up, be real, you know, that whole story. And so you just threw it in the back of your closet and just never looked back. But that may have been reignited now. That may be something that's now been brought to the surface, that you're now giving it the attention it's always wanted. Does that make sense? The number 5 could also be significant for someone out there. We do have, truth be told, number 14, which does reduce to 5. So it's showing up more than once. I'm getting fear coming up as well. Yeah, you may have been afraid to pursue this hobby as something serious. See, the way that this is coming through is as if though a hobby is something ridiculous, like a hobby is stupid. But this hobby, whatever it is, actually has a lot of meaning for you. It actually has a lot of weight for you, which is why I feel that for some of you, there is a connection to your purpose, or to something much greater than it just being, you know, something you do on the side in your spare time, though that could also be true and is no less significant. But there is a feeling here of, oh, you know, your stupid hobby. It's like, no, this is meaningful to me. I don't care if it's collecting stamps. I don't care if it's building houses out of popsicle sticks. Like, it doesn't matter whatever the story is. There's meaning for it for you, and that's what matters. We have, oh my Lord, with the friggin' masks. P.S. The color gold could be significant because we do have it here on the Truth Be Told card. We do have it here with all that glitters, and with the 5th house, it's represented in that golden yellow. So that could be a color you may be very drawn to at this time as well. But we have here appearance, first impression, and mask. Interesting. There's a lot of masks coming off, and I don't feel like this is just with people. For example, we've just been talking for a bit here about how this hobby is not just some stupid thing. It's not just some infantile thing. That there's something more significant about it. At first appearance, okay, when you first look at it, it might look that way. It might look insignificant. It might look silly, whatever the story is, to someone who is not you. Or maybe it looked that way to you even at some point because you bought and sold whatever society or whoever told you. But that's the mask. The masks are coming off. They're coming off. And whatever this is for you, I feel as though for some of you, there is this story essentially I'm getting of people looking at you and what you love and what you enjoy. Maybe you are trying to turn it into a business or something. It doesn't have to be that, of course, but there is a thread of that here. They could be looking at you like this is just something you do for funsies because they don't understand it the way that you do. They don't feel it the way that you do. And if this is something that manifests in the form of, let's say, a business or in the form of an income, right? Doing something that is fun, that you love, that you're able to create, or something that is fun, that is creative, something that you love to do, it may all of a sudden not look the same way anymore. And maybe that's going to be your testimony. Okay, maybe this is something you've been putting all of this time, all this effort into, and now it's going to take off. Now it's going to be more than just a hobby, more than just funsies. No, that's what you thought, right? I don't know what is your story, but there are threads of this woven within this. For some, yes, it is about that mask. For some, it is about all the masks coming off and being able to discern. And here's the other thing. I don't know that others will see it the same way. It could be one of those kinds of stories where you're like, sorry, you can't come into my kingdom. Sorry. And other people may be pointing their finger, like, why are you not letting so-and-so into the kingdom? Into your kingdom, because they don't have the eyes to see like you do. They're not able to discern, right? They buy the mask, they see the mask and stop at the mask. They look no further than the golden mask in front of them, right? There's this whole, oh my gosh, there's this whole like worshiping. It's very weird. But there's this feeling of almost like worshiping the golden mask, like worshiping whatever someone shows you and just taking that, right? Putting it up on a pedestal as though nothing should come against it. And whatever you've been going through, God is like, ooh, I'm going to show you real quick. Right? That's how this is coming off, because there are people around you, I feel, that could still be buying the mask. And you're like, listen, if you want to keep buying it, they're going to keep selling it. I'm not buying. So that's that, right? But you may be someone who has taken something that is creative, that is fun, that is a hobby, that may look at first glance as though it is insignificant or foolish or whatever. And you may be turning that into something that is actually creating a lot of meaning for you, right? It could be something that is actually bringing in an income. It could be something that is, changing your life for the better. And it doesn't have to be limited, by the way, to a change in your income or your finances or your stability or anything like that. But it could be creating this stability within you. It could be creating this wealth within your being, within your heart, because it's meaningful to you. It's important to you. It has purpose for you. And the thing about those who will have their feathers all ruffled because of how this is playing out for you, please do understand that again is their shadow being poked at. I got the bear coming through earlier, and I'm getting another message with a bear, like it's like poking the bear, because within them, just as was within you, there is a sleeping bear. And here you come with your truth, with your authenticity, with your light, with your love, and you're poking the bear. And before, you may have your light, your love poked that bear, and you were like, oh, okay, I'm just going to retreat. I'm just going to play small. I'm just going to, not challenge the bear. But now, because you now have this ability to discern, because you've done the work required of you to have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, now you may be poking the bear and saying, whatever. Okay, it's time for the bear within you to wake up. Because doing the same stuff you've been doing is not working for me anymore. If you want to keep doing that, fine, but I don't have to play. Right? So what else, please? What else do we need to know? What else needs to be shared, please? What other messages need to be shared? Thank you. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. That little mouse energy. Okay, thank you. So we have this little mouse energy, right? I feel like you're somebody who probably... I'm actually being reminded of a message that came through in another video. It might have been the last video I did, or I don't know. But in another video I did more recently, a message came through of like, nobody puts baby in a corner from Dirty Dancing. I feel as though you may be somebody who has been like nitpicked. It feels like there have been experiences where you've been picked apart, whether it be by yourself or others or a combination of the two, and you may have been playing quite small, right? It may have been kind of paralyzing in a way. And I feel like there are people around you who liked that about you, right? And I know that's that's a sickness, truly. But there are people around you who I feel liked you being small. They like to feed off of you and keep you small. Okay? It's like this siphoning of your energy. And anytime you started to get a little big, let's say, I feel like here comes this parasitic energy. Like, nope, let me just siphon it off of you now so that you feel small again. Right? I don't know what this is, but I feel like there's something that has happened. This feels more like a past energy to me. You may still be finding your feet in a way, finding your voice even, but there is something within you that has shifted. I don't feel like this is your same energy currently. Not fully anyways. There may be still little hints of it, right? There may be still little hints of it, but I don't feel like you're fully in this energy anymore, where you're just this quiet little mouse in the corner. That's not to say that people aren't still criticizing you and nitpicking you and whatever, or maybe that still sometimes you don't do it to yourself. But I feel like you're kind of, the way I'm seeing it is almost like a Clark Kent kind of thing, right? Where it's like, I still feel like, even if you feel that way, sometimes you're ripping open the curtains of your soul and like letting your light shine, even if it scares you, even if you think people will mock you or whatever. Because I feel as though, because during this pause period, during this time that you've had with God in you, Christ in you, your higher self in you, the angels in you, the time that you've had to lean into that more has put you in a position where you've been shown in some way or another that you are far from insignificant. You are far from small. You're not meant to play small. You're not meant to be the supporting role in someone else's story. You're meant to be the main character of your own. And the opinions of others are not facts. I feel that this has been shown to you quite clearly by whatever it is that you surround yourself with in the spiritual. God, Christ, the angels, right? There it is. There it is. You've been working hard to get out of this energy. You've been working hard to, yes, thank you, Holy Spirit. You've been working hard for your honey, for the sweet things about life. That's not to say that you're holding honey in your hand, as it were, but you may have felt it within you. Suddenly, life may feel a lot sweeter, even though nothing or next to nothing on the material plane has shifted or has given you any kind of reason to believe or to be in this state of feeling that life is so sweet. Again, this is another kind of side effect, if you will, of strengthening a relationship between Christ and yourself, your higher self, and your physical self. It's a byproduct, right? And I feel as though you feel that honey within you because you've been working for it, right? Oh my Lord, thank you, Holy Spirit. You've been working. Oh my gosh, you guys, the way that this is coming through, forgive me, I'm just the messenger, okay? It is what it is. But you've been working to clear out all the rodents from what is sweet in your life, because I feel like all the rodents, if you will, have been like gobbling up what was meant to be your honey, what it was meant to be sweet for you. Does that make sense? And those rodents, P.S., don't just have to be people in your external experience and situations and things like this. It could also be mindsets, right? Behavioral patterns. It could be things that have been cyclical in your experience, right? That you've been meant to, that you have been working to move out of. Okay, so whatever falls under that rodent category for you is what it is, but it is something or some things or someone's, some people who have been gobbling up what is sweet within you, what is sweet for you, and trying to just keep it for themselves. Keep it for, right? Oh, you have the cosmic egg. I'm just gonna tell you, okay? there may be something here that is getting ready to hatch. You have something within you that is powerful, something within you that is valuable, that is worth protecting, as indicated by this snake coiled around this egg. I'm going to get the guidebook to read to you the meaning of this spirit card, but I just want to say before we do that, this is what you've been working toward, bringing to the surface. Notice how we go from this tiny little bee, right, that's been doing all of this hard work, going unnoticed, trying to make its life sweet, to this snake that's like, no, listen here, sweets. I'm not this tiny little thing now. I'm protecting what I should have been protecting this entire time. And forgive yourself for not knowing what you didn't know, because you can only make decisions from whatever level of consciousness you're operating from. And if you're operating from a space of trauma, wounding, programming, that's all you know. That's all you're working with, and that is where you make your decisions from. But as you awaken, as things start to come into focus, as the rose-colored glasses come off, as the symphonic earmuffs, as I like to call them, come off, and you start hearing and you start seeing clearly, that's when there's this realization of, oh, like I've actually been giving away this gold I've had within me, right? Like cosmic egg, I think, is, yes, connected to the 7th chakra. All right, so I love this. I love this. Completion, harmony, the infinite within the finite. The cosmic egg is the final card in the journey of the animal spirit deck, and it represents the unfolding of cosmic consciousness. This state emerges after we have tread the path for quite some time, and through self-effort and grace, we experience self-realization. A sense of contentment and oneness spontaneously arises within us, and the veils of our self-limiting beliefs are lifted. When the essence of the cosmic egg has not been activated, we may feel as if we will never get there, or that we travel alone, disconnected from others. Even if our encounter with this card is brief, appearing as a momentary glimmer or flash of interconnectedness, its potent energy stays with us. The cosmic egg is a remedy for the fragmentation of modern life. It's through the power of this card that we are reminded of the cosmic contract written at the beginning. We hold on to life, and life holds on to us. The journey is complete, but it does not end. The cosmic egg and the 2nd chakra. The subtle essence of the cosmic egg resides at the crown chakra at the top of the head. One of the aims of yoga and meditation practice is to channel energy from the base of the spine up toward the 7th chakra. Each of the 6 lower chakras plays an important role along this journey. And once the final epicenter of consciousness is activated, it is said to radiate the light of 1,000,000 suns. So you've had this within you, right? You've had this sitting within you, waiting to be activated, waiting for you to remember. And as I said, reading there and mentioned previously, this has taken a long time. Just like it takes bees a long time to create even the smallest bits of honey. This has not been a this has not been an instant gratification, get it quick type of journey, right? It's not DoorDash, it's not Amazon, it's none of those things. It has taken a long time, and it has taken a lot from you to move from this place of being the small mouse in the corner, afraid, looking at yourself in a very critical way, to putting in the work required of you to come out of that and to start to create sweetness or honey in your life. And you may have gotten little tastes of it here and there. Again, with the bee, it takes a lot of time to make a little bit of honey. You may have gotten glimmers of this or tastes of that honey along the path, which has likely been your fuel in hope and faith. But where you're going, the path that you are on, is so much more grand than just little drops of honey, little drops of sweetness. It's the light of 1,000,000 suns. Maybe it doesn't look that way. Maybe it won't look that way on the material plane. Maybe it won't look that way outwardly, but in the spirit though, best believe if this is for you, you are not going unnoticed, which is likely why some of these traumas, wounding, programmings, people, situations, environments, etc., have tried to keep you so covered, so hidden, so pulled in, right? Because that's what it feels like. It feels like at one point, here you were minding your business, living your life, shining your light, not thinking about it. And it irritated somebody's shadow or somebody's, lots of people, or whatever. Somewhere along the way, somebody's shadow got real uncomfortable and spit venom at you. And so you brought it all back in, and you've been holding it in until something along the way started poking the bear within you and waking you up to the point where you started doing the bits behind the scenes, right? The people who go buy honey off the shelf at the store, for example, aren't thinking about how many bees or how much time it took to get that bottle of honey. They're just seeing the bottle of honey. They're like, thank you, I'm gonna be on my way now. But you sweets, you know how much it takes. You know the amount of work you've had to put in. And you now may be finding yourself where you are not afraid to shine your light. You're not afraid. Like I said, there's a whole like Clark Kent, like peeling back the old like peeling back the mask and revealing who you truly are. And we have the Lamb in the out of balance position, which is giving me this whole, again, the importance of needing to recognize the wolves in sheep's clothing, the wolves who come to disrupt what you have created within you, the peace you've created within you. The lamb is a symbol of peace. It is also a prophetic energy, a very truthful energy. And so with it showing up here just beneath that, all that glitters, and the mask or first impression energy, appearances energy, right next to this cosmic egg saying you have the light of a million suns shining within you. You've completed something, right? You have this valuable thing. You have to be able to recognize the wolves, those that come to disrupt your peace, those that come spitting lies. Thank you. I'm being given this, how do I explain this? It is, oh my Lord. I'm getting this message of, you can pour honey all over excrement all you want. It doesn't change the fact that it's still excrement and it still stinks. Just like, oh my Lord, you guys. Right? So there's the feeling here of not letting someone, or there's the feeling of being able to recognize when these wolves in sheep's clothing come, and when they try to doll up, or when they try to make lies pretty. Does that make sense? It's being able to discern, recognize it for what it is. And so this feels like, because it's been repeated so many times, as you move forward, this is something that I feel you are going to have to look for. Trust your intuition. Trust the red flags you see, because they're not there by accident. God, Christ, the angels are shining a light in the darkness and revealing truth. Take it back to God, pray about it, meditate on it, whatever it is that you do to seek confirmation, okay? But if Spirit is telling you this person is a wolf, believe them. If Spirit is showing you the red flags, don't try to run and paint them green. Spirit sees what you don't, hears what you don't, and knows what you don't. Trust it. Again, there's nothing wrong with seeking confirmation. But do not just ignore the sheep that is barking and growling, okay? So let's take a look at how some things may be showing up to give you some of these nudges, how these messages may be coming through, right? In what ways will Spirit be giving you some of these signs? I had no idea that that's where this was going to go, but oh my Lord, I love how Spirit works, because this is the perfect deck for this, actually. Okay. So how might Spirit be giving you these nudges, letting you know what and who to look out for? Okay, so we have the TV here. You could be seeing signs of this in certain television shows, ads. It could be showing up in anything that comes across your television screen. So if you're seeing repeating themes, if you're seeing things that are giving you these feelings about certain situations or people in your life, if things are resonating with you on a deeper level than what should be for a TV show, that could be something to really pay attention to. We also have letters here. So there could be something significant. Maybe you're seeing initials. Maybe you're seeing certain words or things that are showing up to give you the nudges to say, hey, pay attention to this. Again, this could be showing up on license plates, billboards, like wherever, okay? But it could be certain letters that are drawing your attention to something. And sometimes the way Spirit speaks to us is in ways that we wouldn't necessarily expect. And sometimes we have to take some of the things that we're seeing and, again, kind of pray about it or meditate on it. Maybe we write it down, journal about it, and come back to it later, whatever it is. But there seems to be something here where Spirit could be speaking to you in ways that are not as in your face, okay? Which Spirit doesn't always really work that way anyhow, right? You have to be in tune, if you will, to pick up on some of these things. But maybe letters is something that you wouldn't have thought of previously, isn't somewhere you would have thought to look previously, let's say. Oh, I'm getting fear. For some of you, I feel like you've already been seeing this, whether it be on TV or in letters. You may have already been getting nudges about certain masks, certain wolves, okay? I'm also getting that it could have shown up in like readings, right? Maybe you've watched other readers, other channelers, like whatever it is, and maybe they use initials in their delivery, in the way that they communicate, and it could have been showing up there as well. Books. Okay, so if you're being drawn to certain TV shows or books that have a certain theme to them, that could also be something significant. You could also be reading this. I'm getting, for some of you, you could have been reading like self-help, or maybe books on understanding human nature, like I'm getting this vibe of learning. But it's learning about how people operate, right? And maybe you just did that for yourself so you could learn more about how you operate as a human being, how your mind operates, things like this. But I'm getting that for some of you, you could have actually been reading certain books that have been illuminating you to some of these wolves, whether they be within yourself or others. Colors. That's so fascinating because we did mention the gold here earlier, right? So certainly specific colors may be standing out. If you are drawn to certain colors, I would encourage you to perhaps look into that more deeply. What is the significance of this color? For example, gold, right? What is the spiritual significance? Or what is the symbology, right, behind that color specifically? Because there could be messages there for you as well in regards to that. And finally, we have feeling called to something, someone, or some place. Yeah, there could, right? It's interesting because that also, I feel like, is in line with this serendipity card. Being in the right place at the right time, and only being in the right place at the right time because you followed instruction, because you were obedient to that divine guidance coming through you. So this, I feel like, is almost a little bit apart from how are you going to know these wolves. It could resonate in that regard also, but the way that this is coming through more strongly for me is pay attention to the nudges, pay attention to the niggles, pay attention to the things that you are feeling called to. Okay, for example, when I first came in to share these messages, I had another message in mind, but it's not the one that Spirit wanted to share. And so instead of doing what I wanted to do, here I am sharing this message with you. And clearly it's important. right? So I feel like that's more connected to that kind of energy, right? Making sure that we are paying attention to what we're feeling called toward and being obedient to that. Again, maybe you ask for confirmation. Hey, Holy Spirit. Hey, Lord. Hey, angels. Hey, insert word here. Am I supposed to be going to this place? Please give me confirmation that I can understand clearly, right? And show it to me X amount of times so that I know for sure. Okay? So let's get a message for you. Oh, that was fast. Thank you. There's an angel, or what appears to be an angel, on the front of this card, and it says, live your dreams. The message for you is this. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to read this. Dear you, human beings spend a huge percentage of life asleep, not just in bed, but the kind where you forget you are a spiritual, immortal being taking on a temporary human form. It's not your fault. Everyone suffers from spiritual amnesia once in a while. As you develop an identity and ego, you begin to see through the eyes of a small self and have less connection to your soul self. You may not recognize this is going on, but you sure can feel it. We're here to remind you to look through your soul's eyes and see that magic is everywhere. Infinite potential lies in spirit, who is teaming with you to fulfill the contract you made to contribute to the evolution of the whole world. Wake up and remember that all the help you need is orchestrated in the invisible realms. Your mind, in alignment with divine intelligence, is unstoppable. The world is yours to co-create. You are so loved, and we are all behind you. This is actually showing to me, or revealing to me, another thread of this, because we were talking about hobbies and creativity here with the 5th house. This could also be, just in case, like, I didn't miss you, okay? It just took me a while to see it. This could also be for those of you who have been in the process of creating some kind of business or some kind of platform, some kind of something to share what is within you with others. Okay, this may be something that you felt maybe was getting up off the ground at some point and then all of a sudden just plateaued, or maybe, it took a turn and you were not sure what was really going on. And this may be something that is now moving again, or maybe you're feeling called to create movement within that space again. Okay. Oh, I love that so much. Okay, let's get a final message, a blessing. What blessing would most support and serve you and your journey right now? Thank you. 2 of them. God is so good, y'all. May God richly bless you today. Yes. And may you be blessed by the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Psalm 115:15. So the number 15 could be important to you, but the message is repeated, right? May God richly bless you today, and may you be blessed by the Lord. It's coming to you multiplied, right? I feel as though there are some of you listening, and I don't know how this is going to show up. It's going to be different for everyone, depending on where they are in their journey and what is best for them according to divine will and divine time. But I feel as though there are some of you who are listening, whether that be here in the near future or somewhere down the line, that you are going to be blessed beyond what you thought even possible for yourself. I feel like it's going to show up in a way that you would least expect. And I feel as though it's going to shock not only you, but people around you as well. For some of you, you may actually end up being a testimony. I love this so much for you. Whoever you are, your work is paying off, right? The Bible says, man will reap what he sows. Okay, it's Galatians something, forgive me, but man reaps what he sows. And dear sweet soul, whatever you've been doing, where you feel like it's gone unnoticed, where you feel like there has been no return on investment, you have been building a spiritual bank. And there are rewards that you may be getting ready to reap that you wouldn't even have dreamt were possible. You would have never imagined would be something that would be for you. But that is the glory of God, right? That is the glory of God. That you can have this vision, this dream for your life, and God can take it and say, listen, that's great. It's beautiful that that's what you want to do and what you want to create and how you want to be of service, but I have something much greater for you planned. And so I pray, I'm getting emotional about it. I'm so happy for you. Whoever you are, know that when this comes in, it is for you. It is for you. Receive it with love, with gratitude, and know that you have earned it. It is for you and you have earned it. I pray that these messages have provided confirmation for you or have blessed you in some way, shape, or form, have been valuable for you as you navigate your journey. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being with me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Take care of your truthful, seeing, knowing, intuitive, strong, powerful, evolving, bright, beautiful, shining soul. Peace be with you and within you, and I hope to see you in another chat. Bye.